Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. I know I did, watching the Brewers sweep the Mets. I was there yesterday at Citi Field. Really good times all weekend long. Hope you all had fun wherever you were, whatever you were doing, whoever you were with. Welcome back to your Monday. The end of Monday, though, so we're almost to Tuesday at this point, and we're well into the beginning of the week. The Packers, pretty quiet today, headline-wise. Not a whole lot happening, percolating, as if you will, from 1265 Lombardi. But I was going back and listening to some of the interviews from the league meetings, and something Matt LaFleur talked about really kind of hit me that I hadn't really thought about when it comes to the approach on the offensive side of the ball, at least for Matt and his coaching staff, and how far ahead of the curve they must be this time around, this year, at this moment, say early April, heading into the off-season program with a cast that you can pretty much kind of set as far as who's going to be playing where for the most part. Now, obviously, the draft will come along and some of this stuff might change just a little bit, but think about where they were last season at this point. They knew they had Watson and Dobbs, and that was about it. They didn't know what they were going to be doing at tight end. Certainly didn't understand who was going to be filling out the depth chart at wide receiver. So if you're Matt LaFleur, Adam Stenovich and company, trying to devise a game plan and really kind of cobbled together what you want to do was probably put on hold for a good amount of time until you got to the draft and you finally got these pieces. And even then, you didn't really know how they were going to respond and react and produce, et cetera, once they hit the ground running. And, throughout the season, I think we saw obviously a lot of not only production, but um, development, maturation, if you will, assimilation to the league from a lot of these young guys that now that they have that under the belt, you got to expect Matt and company to be really kind of coming up and forward thinking how they're going to utilize all this talent that now has at least a season, a couple of seasons, if you're talking about Watson and Dobbs, under their belt, and I think that's clearly something that they can, really lean into as far as all of the tape that they have on these guys from last season and figure out, okay, this guy really did this well, et cetera, and put them in positions to succeed in a way where at some time, at some point last year, they're probably kind of flying blind in that regard. So it's just, like I said, it's just something I hadn't really thought of until Matt. Somebody asked, I didn't miss who asked the question, but Matt mentioned that they're way ahead of the curve when it comes to designing the offense and trying to move forward with everything the guys did well last year. Maybe points where they struggled and trying to either curb, asking them to do those things, or just highlighting what things they need to work on throughout the offseason and training camp and preseason, etc. Just an interesting note. And like I said, it's just something I hadn't really thought of. Hello, everybody in the comment section. Hope you're all doing well. So good to see everybody. What's up, Soder? Soder's here, of course. Kaleo, what's going on, man? Random Packers, Mark Brunell, and Devon Funchess. Man, the Devon Funchess moment was a lot of fun. And that's all it was a moment. He had a really good preseason that summer, though. I'll give him that. Steve Anthony, thanks so much for joining the Carry the G Club. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Ryan, what's going on, man? Random Packer and 80s interception machine, UW's Randy Wright. I should have sold that better. Random Packer and 80s interception machine, UW's Randy Wright. Something like that. That's how that should have been read. Ron LaFleur, no relation, I'm imagining. Random Packer, Barry Sander. Not to be confused with almost Packer, Barry Sanders. She said, Joey, what's going on, man? Hope you had a great weekend, Nags. Thoughts on the idea of maybe a defensive tackle or even edge at 25? Also, random Packer, Ladarius Gunter. Ladarius. Always a very warm place in my heart for Ladarius for just battling the way he did, especially in 2016. Yeah, I think there's every possibility that either of those positions get looked at. It was funny because I saw a comment on Cheesehead TV today on the website on the post where I had put up the latest from Brian and Joseph looking at the top 10 edge players in this draft. And whoever it was It was a well thought out post. It wasn't trolling. It was just their opinion that, they said something, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, like, oh, edge is way down the line as far as needs for the Packers. And I understand that thinking, but, first of all, you are switching to a new defensive front, new responsibilities, possibly new designs on what you're asking those guys to do. You are dealing with Enigbari coming back from an ACL injury that he suffered way late in the season in a playoff game. So he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. Um, and then who knows? You've got Preston Smith, who I know adjusted his contract once again, but is certainly up there and at the back end of his career. And yes, you've got Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, who you just took last season. But man, you want to rotate those guys, and that rotation can thin out real quick. So yeah, I'm not saying that that's a major need, but it's certainly not something you can dismiss, especially at a position that is a premium spot. You know, corner, tackles, getting after the quarterback. Those are the premium gigs, right? If you can get pressure on the quarterback consistently, affect the pocket on a consistent basis, you are, way just more valuable than most other guys on the field on defense. So I'm not saying that yes, that means 100% they're going to take an edge. No, I'm not saying that at all. But um, would it surprise me if they went that way at 25? Not at all. Or a defensive tackle, which I also think, I know, traditionally the Packers have looked at those positions I just mentioned. Obviously, in quarterback is there as well, as far as a premium position, although I don't suspect they'll be taking a quarterback in the first round this year. Um, but yeah, those are traditionally the premium positions that the Packers like to kind of utilize, look at, etc. That doesn't mean they won't look at other positions, but I do wonder if defensive tackle, kind of league wide, is starting to creep into the vernacular of a premium spot, just because of the way you do want to rotate those guys. We've seen teams be very successful taking that approach, right? But you also want to control the line of scrimmage. You want the blue chip players to be, to allow you to be able to do that. And defensive tackles, especially guys that can play all three downs, they're pretty damn valuable. So, yeah, and I know it's funny because I've seen a lot of conversation over the years about wide receiver creeping into the premium position kind of conversation, but I think defensive tackle probably does more so than wide receiver at this point, at least for my money. But yeah, I don't doubt for a moment that if there's a guy there that they love and they think the value is there, they pull the trigger at 25 on a defensive tackle. Absolutely. Now, who is that guy? I mean, the only one that I really can think of off the top of my head as far as a guy who would drop surprisingly, right? Because I don't think he's going to be available is Byron Murphy. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but things happen every single year that you don't expect. And if that were to occur, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers pulled the trigger. But we got a long way to go. We shall see. Nick, what's up, man? Saw the article on moving Dylan to Josiah's role. Talked about that in an article. Would be stoked to see him in that flex role. Maybe resurrect the Hendy hurdle for a quick 8 yards check down route. I mean, yeah, I think I've talked about this a little bit. I'm not sold on how much they're going to lean into that. I mean, maybe put him in the rotation when the summer comes along, etc. But I'd be very surprised if they tried to utilize him outside of the traditional tailback role all that much. Now, maybe they do. I know Matt talked about the possibility, but I'm not buying it yet. We'll see. I mean, who knows who they end up taking in the draft or finding in, undrafted free agency, and maybe they fill that kind of move tight end role in that regard. But yeah, possibly. Maybe they throw AJ there and see what he got. It's entirely possible. Soder, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Going with the secondary this week. Random Packer, Tiger Green. Tiger also wore a G on the sleeve, number plate on the pants, and had oversized shoulder pads. Love me some oversized shoulder pads. Tiger Green, man, that's a good one. Abdul, what's going on, man? Hey, Aaron, who makes the competition committee? Who makes up the competition committee? Seems like NFLPA is really weak. I always figured they'd have some input into the changes into the game. Well, they can voice their opinion. Unfortunately, the collective bargaining agreement has allowed, the NFL to have their competition committee as they were, and those teams are the ones that vote on the rule changes. Uh, the chance for players to have their voices heard is during collective bargaining negotiations. You know, the problem, of course, is as you're saying, the competition committee feels like they look for problems every year just to kind of justify their existence. Really coming up with a lot of solutions where there are no real problems. I've groused about this for years. I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud at this point. And as far as who makes it up, I can't remember. I know Rich McKay has headed it up for a good number of years now. I think Sean Payton just joined the competition committee, if I remember right. And there are a number of other coaches, ex-coaches, etc., executives. I think it's like 12, 14 people, something like that. Mark Murphy has been a member of the competition committee. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that each and every offseason they feel the need to meddle with stuff that really is kind of solutions looking for a problem, to my mind. But that's just me. I'm an old grumpy man. Aaron, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you, buddy. Greg Brockmill, what's going on, man? What are your thoughts on the UFL? Do you see the Packers pulling talent from there? How about that kid who nailed a 64-yard field goal twice? Go Pack, go. Yeah, I saw it. He exploded all over my social media when he did it, and everyone's saying, I'm going to tease Tazim tomorrow about it. We're recording a new Let's Talk Football, and Tazim's all like, the Packers got to call him, etc. It's like, does anyone remember that our guy hit a 62-yarder in preseason? I get it, man. It was a great kick. Absolutely phenomenal. But, yeah, he's been a kickoff guy his entire career. And, yes, he made that kick twice, and I'm very impressed, and it's great. But this idea that we got to throw out everything else and just give this kid a call is kind of funny to me. But but hey, look, as far as the UFL goes, yeah, no doubt the Packers and every NFL team are going to be watching. No question about it. They'll undoubtedly be familiar with most of those guys, guys on the back end kind of their NFL career, and or like we saw Vic Beasley, I think, get a sack in one of the games, or guys who have kind of maybe bounced around as undrafted free agents or maybe played the Canadian Football League, etc. There's no doubt that the personnel people in the NFL are familiar with almost every guy that's playing there, right? But that doesn't mean that those guys can't be developing or maybe, showing stuff that they haven't shown before. And that is part of the gig, right? In fact, I talked to Richmond Williams, not about the UFL, but about, the job of a pro personnel person being 365 and never, ever, ever taking a day off. And he said some stuff. Some of it didn't make the interview, but I did have a great talk with him for the Cheesehead TV Draft Guide, which drops this Wednesday. So make sure you guys are queuing up on Wednesday for the drop. I got a link in the description of this video if you want to check out more information. If you're not familiar with our draft guide, each and every year, we've been doing it for 14 years now. It is a mega labor of love, and the people that do it are amazing. Jersey Al here at Cheesehead TV heads it up. I do very, 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 very little when it comes to the draft guide, which tells you how good it is. Because if I'm not involved, the people who actually do the scouting and the writing and the breakdowns, they're all very talented in a way that I am not. So make sure you check it out. Good times. Abdul, what's going on, man? Who was better, Corliss or Richard Rodgers? Ooh. If I was a meaner guy, I'd say it's the battle of the mid tight ends, but I am not that guy. Man, it's hard to go against Richard Rodgers, right? If for no other reason that he caught the amazing Hail Mary in Detroit. But Corliss was okay. I mean, Corliss was just inconsistent. He flashed. He certainly flashed. He had some really promising athletic upside that I don't think he ever really harnessed on a consistent basis. I think Richard was probably less of an athlete, but probably a better overall player. That's my recollection anyway. Ryan, thanks for the super chat. Random Packer, Terrell Buckley. Man, it's just sad that he couldn't put it together in Green Bay, but he went on to have a really good career, I always love T-Buck. Jerry, what's going on, man? Random Acme Packer, the dude off your left shoulder with the Acme Packer shirt. Love Cheesehead TV. Thanks, nice. This one, There's a few, right or left. I got Acme Packers all over me. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Cheesehead Joey, what's going on, man? All caps, screw RAS. Give me DeAndre Sweat at 25. I don't care. All right, well, 25, I feel like 25 is a little bit rich. But day 2, you get that opportunity, man, I pull that trigger. But you guys know what I'm going to say. I'm not the GM, and you guys are lucky that I'm not. I'm with you, man. I love him as a player. I was actually just talking to Matt Bowen, former Packer, about him yesterday. I love this kid, and I know the reasons the Packers won't draft him. Specifically what you're talking about, the athletic testing, but also the fact that he's mostly going to be a 2-down player, right? I don't care about any of that. I just love him as a player. I love his ability. I love how he plays the game. I think he's got tremendous upside. Yeah, but I would be shocked if the Packers took him. But I hear you, Joey. I hear you. Pack Daddy, what's going on, man? April equals Great Test Sports Month. Final Four, the Masters, MLB start, NBA playoffs, and the NFL draft. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a decided lack of football there. Now, I know the UFL is kicked off, so we get a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can get on board with that. I hear you, though. There's a lot going on. No doubt about it, including LSU Iowa tonight. Hope everybody's going to be watching that because that is going to be a barn burner of a game. Em, what's up? How you doing, man? Nags, why we keep signing unreliable kickers? Well, because eventually, sometimes these guys figure it out. That has happened throughout the history of the NFL, where kickers are inconsistent to start their years, to start their careers, and then as they mature and get more reps under their belt, they figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that that's automatically going to happen, and it certainly doesn't happen with every guy, but it does happen on occasion. The Packers will keep kind of testing the waters, trying to find guys who maybe, yes, have struggled a little bit in their time in the league, but give them some time, gives them more reps, and maybe they figure it out. I mean, I'll never forget Ryan Longwell when he came in. Now he hadn't been in the league a long time, but he had bounced around a little bit. And then the Packers got him, and he went on to become a really, really good kicker. And sometimes it's just whatever things you've got as far as mechanics and the operation, as they like to call it. Sometimes you just find the groove suddenly, and you're in it, and it sometimes it's ethereal and you don't really know what it is. I've talked to coaches who are like, man, sometimes it's just getting in that groove, and you can't really pinpoint why it happens, but sometimes it does. And it's not like they're spending huge money on it. It's not like he's going to take up a monster percentage of the cap. I mean, I imagine you're talking about Greg Joseph here, but bring him in. What does it hurt? You needed competition, right? And if you want like super sharpshooter dude who's made like 80% of his kicks and he's awesome, well, that guy's on a roster already. That guy's not just hanging out on the street more often than not. So those are the types of guys you're gonna bring in to push your young kicker. John Simitovich, what's up, man? Would the NFL ever consider nickname jerseys? Ooh, I doubt it. I truly doubt it. I mean, after he hate me in the XFL, I very much doubt it. Now, who knows? Maybe down the line, but I just think the NFL ownership is very old school and very conservative when it comes to those things. I mean, these guys get fined for the length of their socks. I don't think nickname jerseys are on the offer anytime soon. Ryan, what's up, man? In my opinion, if they make it more offense friendly, they might as well play flag football. Random Packer, Kittrick Taylor. There you go. There you go. I mean, look, they do want to make the game safer. There's zero doubt about that. But they do play a violent sport. And trying to come to grips with that in your head is something that every NFL fan has to at least, go through the process of understanding what they're watching. I know it's real easy for us to, after a game, to flip it off and go on with our lives, but these dudes, each and every week, are dealing with the repercussions of the violence that they've put themselves through for 3 hours while we pay no heed. So it's not like I'm trying to minimize the league attempting to make the game safer, right? But it is a violent sport, and it always will be. I know people talk about the flags and things like that, but I don't think we're anywhere near that. And I know, JJ Watt and et cetera have, made, I'm not going to say tongue in cheek, like they've said, just put the flags on them because they're frustrated, right? They are defensive players. Charles Woodson saying, just help push the guy into the end zone instead of tackling him. Defensive players are frustrated with exactly what you're talking about because it's so very clearly geared, the most rule changes, to trying to generate more offense, because we are, at a point in the cyclical nature of the league where for the first time in a very long time, scoring is down. The NFL has done so much to kind of help the offense, and now the defense is figuring it out. So now the league is like, well, how else can we, you know, tilt the field just a little bit more towards the offense? And I think that's the way it's probably always going to be. Unfortunately, defense doesn't sell tickets, although it should. Nate, what's up, man? What excites you most about the Bears in 24? That is well played. What excites me most about the Bears in 24 is getting to watch their fans understand yet again that they are fans of the Chicago Bears. They're going to trumpet their offseason and they're going to come into week 1 thinking they're going to actually make a run at the division. Caleb Williams is going to be the new, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes, and it's all going to come crashing down again because they're the Bears. And I can't wait to watch all the Bears fans understand and realize that all over again, because it does seem to happen each and every year. To me, yes, that's what excites me most. Joe, what's up, man? When Packers 2024 opponents look at Love's 2023 tape, what will they focus on that they think they can target? Ooh, that's a good question, Joe. I suspect some of the deep out stuff, they really made a living there in the second half of the season on some like 15-yard outbreakers that I think if you're a wily veteran corner or even a safety and you can kind of maybe start to get a bead on when down and distance wise they like to go to that. And this is what Matt's always talking about, right? Trying to stay ahead of these things as far as tells and tendencies. But man, yeah, if you know that there's a good chance that that's coming, you start jumping some of those, because Jordan, as well as he played down the stretch and as good as he looks and as excited as we are, he still, has weaknesses. He doesn't push that ball on the far hash nearly as like fast and as explosively as Aaron Rodgers did. It's just he doesn't have the same arm. So if you're a guy in the secondary and you can maybe get into a groove or, okay, I know this is probably what they're going to call here on this second down or third down or what have you, you can make a break on it, you're going to have a chance, right? The other thing I think is some of the stuff in the flat, I think you try and disguise a bit more or a bit more regularly. I mean, I'm sure they did some of this last year, but opponents, that is. I try and like do a bit more of this, make it look like you're bailing out, maybe even in man coverage, and then switch it up and squat down in a kind of a really extreme cover 2 under look where you're just waiting for that ball into the flat. Jordan, the worst game was the Giants game where he really overshot some stuff and was really kind of off early. But I think there's some chances there if you can get him to think it's man and get to zone, etc. Now this is all like very rudimentary 30,000 foot shit that is way harder than I'm making it sound. And it's not like it's you just snap a finger and make it work. But, to me, those are a few things that I think, opponents could focus on. And I'm sure there's lots of others that they're going to look at as far as the deep ball, some of the struggles there. But yeah, I think there's no doubt that they're going to have a plan for him that's going to be a little bit more kind of multiple than maybe some of the stuff he saw his first year as a starter. Joey, what's up? Okay, maybe it would be early for Sweat. Yes, it would. Ryan, what's up? Trotter Jr. or Junior Colson in the third? Ooh, I love Trotter Jr. I don't think I'll be surprised if the Packers take him though. Pack Daddy, what's up? Good thing for us, Gilbert Brown predated RAS. No doubt about it. Don't ever forget, Gilbert Brown is a Vikings castoff because that's how that works. They take all our cast-offs and they don't do anything in Minnesota. We take every once in a while one of their cast-offs and we win a Super Bowl with them. that's what we do. Alex, thanks for the generous super chat. What's up, man? Random Packer, Aron Brooks. Well done. Well done. Not related to the Packers, but I went to the same high school as Reese Hoskins, so it was lovely seeing him terrorize the Mets over the weekend. LOL. Alex, can I just tell you, the way they voraciously booed him yesterday, and he didn't have like nearly the productive game that he had on Saturday, which was the only disappointing part of being there yesterday, is that he came really close to breaking the game open with just a rip down the third base line, just went foul, and then he hit into the double play to end the inning when the bases were loaded. And oh my God, the Mets fans were just teeing off on him. It was great. I'm like, we're 3 games into the season, and you people are completely out of your mind about this guy. It's hilarious. But yes, I mean, didn't take him long to become one of my favorite Brewers, no doubt about it. Zol, what's up? Do you think expectations for Hafley are so high because Barry was disliked so much? Also, random Packer Colt Lyerla. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Yeah, there's probably some of that. I don't doubt for a moment. You're always kind of reacting to the last guy. When Joe Barry got hired, I know no one was blowing trumpets because of his track record, but it was very refreshing to think, we're going to be doing something different than Mike Pettin, right? I do think, yeah, the Barry thing, I don't know about expectations for Hafley. I think people are excited for something new and for a multiple approach that Hafley is going to bring. I don't know, man. I think you're always reacting to the last guy. And yes, no, there was certainly no love loss between Packers fans and former defensive coordinator. Crash, what's up? Not so random Packer, Brian Bulaga, Iowa. Well done. She said, Joey, thanks, man. Any update on Brazil? Nothing yet. I know Murphy said next week, last Tuesday, I believe is when he spoke. So maybe tomorrow. We'll find out. Brody, what's up? Forgotten Packers Hall of Fame QB Tobin Rote. Not forgotten on this channel, my friend. Mimsy, what's going on, man? It's draft month. Bring back Bears poop. The Bears poop emoji. Now, see, only the old school Cheesehead TV fans will remember that. Craig, thanks again, man. Enough about Love's play. How about his acting skills? The next Peyton Manning? LOL. Uh-oh. Did something drop? I didn't see anything that he was acting in. I've seen a bunch of his podcast appearances, but I haven't seen any acting. I'm a quiver of anticipation. Ron, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate you, man. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to get going. Can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video here on YouTube. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Don't forget Wednesday, the 2024 Cheesehead TV Draft Guide drops. You'll be able to find it. Links will be at Cheesehead TV. They'll be here on YouTube. The Patreon members, if you are a producer member or above, any producer member on Patreon, you will get it as our compliments from Cheesehead TV. So don't buy one. You'll get it on your Patreon page. Everybody else, hit like, hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Go Pack, go.